All right, let's dive into another deep dive today. And today we're going to help you prepare for an interview for an import-export specialist role in the textile machinery industry.
It's a pretty interesting field.
Yeah, and we're going to be using RoleCatcher as a resource, and that includes their career guide, interview tips, and AI tools.
Absolutely. So we're going to really unpack like what it takes to be successful in this role and, hopefully get you that dream job.
Perfect. So let's set the stage here. What exactly does an import-export specialist in the textile machinery industry do?
Well, you can imagine you're basically managing the whole import and export process for these big textile machines. You're making sure everything is compliant with customs regulations and coordinating logistics with like suppliers, shipping companies, all those sorts of things.
So it sounds like a pretty global role.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a fast-paced, a lot of challenges, but also really rewarding, especially when you see those machines reach their final destination.
And RoleCatcher highlights some pretty interesting perks too, like exposure to different cultures and maybe even some travel opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. This role can take you all over the world, working with different people, learning about new business practices. It's a great way to broaden your horizons.
So it's not all just paperwork and logistics. There's a real human element to it as well.
Exactly. It's about building relationships, problem solving, and, navigating all those curveballs that get thrown your way.
And that's where the interview questions come in, right?
Yeah, they want to see not just what you know, but also how you think on your feet and how you handle those tricky situations.
Okay, so let's dive into those interview questions. You share some examples from RoleCatcher, and we're going to walk through them as if you're sitting right there in the interview room.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, first question, the classic. Describe your experience in importing and exporting textile industry machinery. How do we make our answer stand out for this one?
So you don't want to just list off tasks, right? You want to really showcase your passion and expertise in the industry. Talk about specific types of machinery you've handled, the countries you've worked with, any specialized software you've used. Like, did you manage, let's say, the import of those high-tech embroidery machines from Japan? Or maybe you coordinate the export of weaving looms to Italy. Make it interesting.
And I think this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
You can plug in the job description and get those tailored suggestions for your answer.
Yeah, it's like having your own personal interview coach, making sure you're highlighting the skills and experiences that really matter to that specific employer.
Okay, question number 2, and this one's about compliance. How do you ensure compliance with import and export regulations? This feels like a bit of a minefield, to be honest.
It can be, yeah, but it's crucial to show you have that meticulous side, right? So explain how you stay updated on regulations. Mention specific publications or organizations you follow, but don't just name drop them. Explain how you actually apply that knowledge to your work. Do you use any software to track changes? Have you ever, encountered a tricky compliance issue and found a creative solution? Share a little story. That always helps.
Yeah, a story's always good, makes it more engaging, and shows you really understand the importance of it, not just reciting information.
Exactly. And remember, compliance isn't just about following the rules. It's about protecting your company's reputation, ensuring smooth operations, contributing to fair trade. It's the bigger picture.
All right, let's move on to question number 3. Describe your negotiation skills and how they have helped you in the past. Everyone says they're a good negotiator, but how do you actually prove it?
Well, you've got to showcase your ability to get good outcomes for your company while also maintaining those strong relationships with suppliers and partners, right? So think of a specific example, a time your negotiation skills made a real difference. Maybe you negotiated a lower price on a crucial part, saving the company a bunch of money. Or maybe you smoothed over a shipping delay and prevented production from stopping.
There's that story element again.
Yes,
Yeah.
stories are key. They bring your skills to life. And don't forget to quantify your success whenever possible. Like, instead of just saying, I saved the company money, you could say, I negotiated a 10% discount on materials, which saved the company, $50,000.
That makes it more concrete, more impactful. Okay, next question. How do you manage the logistics of shipping machinery internationally? And this one seems particularly complex.
It is. It has a lot of moving parts, but don't let that overwhelm you. Break it down into manageable steps. Explain your process for working with freight forwarders, handling documentation, and ensuring timely delivery. Walk them through your typical workflow, highlight your organizational skills, your attention to detail. If you've used any software or technology that streamlines the process, definitely mention that as well.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful here, analyzing your answers and giving you personalized feedback to make sure you're hitting those key points.
It's like having a virtual mentor guiding you through the whole process.
All right, question number 5. This one's about documentation. Describe your experience in managing the documentation required for importing and exporting machinery. This one feels like it's all about accuracy and attention to detail.
It is. It's about knowing those bills of lading, invoices, licenses, certificates of origin, all of that, and making sure everything is perfect, right? Don't just list the document types, explain why they're important, show you understand the whole process. If you use any software to manage those documents, mention that too. It shows you're tech savvy and efficient.
So organization is key in this role.
Absolutely. A well-organized import-export specialist is like gold to a company. And that's something you can show through your answers, even without explicitly saying, I'm organized.
Right, show don't tell. Okay, question number 6. What steps do you take to ensure the quality of the machinery being imported or exported? This is crucial for maintaining a company's reputation and avoiding those costly mistakes.
It's all about demonstrating that commitment to quality control and your understanding of the specific needs of the textile industry. So detail your inspection and testing processes, mention any specific standards you adhere to, like ISO or CE. Do you work with third-party inspection companies? Show them you're not just shipping boxes, you're ensuring the quality of those machines.
And this is where your knowledge of textile machinery really comes into play. You can impress them by talking about specific quality checks relevant to textile machines, like ensuring the calibration of those tension controls on weaving machines or verifying the accuracy of color matching systems on printing machines.
The more specific you are, the better.
All right, question number 7. This one throws a bit of a curveball. How do you handle unexpected issues or delays in the import-exporting process? Because let's face it, things don't always go smoothly.
That's the reality of global trade. Yeah, things happen. This question is about problem solving and staying calm under pressure. So walk them through your process. How do you identify the issue, communicate with everyone involved, and find solutions to minimize any disruptions? Do you have a checklist for common problems? Or are you comfortable using technology to track shipments and identify any potential bottlenecks?
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice this question, give you feedback on your approach, and even simulate different scenarios, like a sudden port strike or a natural disaster.
Yeah, those tools can be incredibly helpful.
Okay, question number 8, focusing on safety. How do you ensure the safety of the machinery being shipped? This seems obvious, but what are the key points to hit?
Well, safety is paramount, right? So you need to show that dedication to protecting both the machinery and the people involved. Outline the precautions you take during packing, loading, transport. Mention specific safety regulations you follow, like the IMDG code for dangerous goods. Show them you're familiar with best practices for handling heavy machinery and that you're always thinking ahead to prevent any accidents.
And any experience you have with specialized safety equipment or techniques, particularly for textile machinery, definitely bring that up.
It all comes back to tailoring your answers to the specific industry and role.
Right. Okay, last question for this part of our deep dive. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in the textile industry? This seems to go beyond just regulations.
It does. It's about showing your passion for the industry and your commitment to always learning. So mention industry events you attend, publications you read, online forums, professional associations. Show them you're actively engaged.
And the RoleCatcher Guide actually links to some great external resources, industry publications, and associations. You should definitely check those out.
It's all about going that extra mile and showing you're genuinely interested in the field. It shows you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for a career.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part, focusing on those crucial interview questions. Remember, these are just examples from RoleCatcher's full interview guide. They have tons of other questions and insights to help you prepare for anything.
And don't forget to use their AI tools to tailor your answers and practice your delivery through those video responses. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel on the big day.
Great advice. We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive exploring other important aspects of this career path.
Welcome back to our deep dive, into the world of becoming an import-export specialist in this textile machinery world. In part 1, we tackled some of those common interview questions, but now let's sort of shift gears a bit and explore what happens after you actually land that dream job. What does career progression look like in this field?
Yeah, so, we've aced the interview, impressed them with our knowledge of, Incoterms and bills of lading.
Yeah.
What's next? Does everyone just stay an import-export specialist forever?
No, not at all. This role is a fantastic stepping stone to all sorts of exciting career paths, actually. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide, it outlines several potential avenues for advancement. So as you gain experience and expertise, a natural progression is to move up to a senior import-export specialist position.
So you're not just like managing shipments anymore. You're leading a team, mentoring junior colleagues, maybe even shaping the company's like overall import-export strategy.
Exactly. You might be responsible for developing new processes, negotiating those key contracts with suppliers or shipping companies, or even expanding into new markets.
That sounds like a great way to really broaden your skill set and make a real impact on the company. What other paths does the guide highlight?
Well, for those who have that knack for leadership and a strategic mindset, there's always the possibility of moving into management positions. You could oversee, the entire import-export operations for a company, leading a team of specialists, managing budgets, making sure everything runs smoothly.
So you're essentially like the conductor of a global orchestra, making sure all the instruments are playing in harmony to create that beautiful symphony of textile machinery deliveries.
I love that analogy. It really captures the essence of this role. You're coordinating multiple teams, managing those complex logistics, and ensuring everything aligns with the company's goals.
RoleCatcher also mentions some opportunities in supply chain management. That seems like a pretty natural fit for someone with, import-export expertise.
It is. With your knowledge of international trade, logistics, customs regulations, you'd be really well equipped to move into a supply chain management role. You could be involved in optimizing shipping routes, managing inventory levels, collaborating with suppliers all over the world, ensuring the timely delivery of goods from factories to the end customer.
So it's like you're kind of the architect of a global network, designing the most efficient and cost-effective routes to get those machines where they need to go.
And in today's world, everything's so interconnected. Supply chain management is becoming more and more critical. Companies are really looking for skilled professionals who can navigate the complexities of global trade, mitigate risks, and ensure those seamless operations.
The RoleCatcher Guide even mentions some less traditional paths, like international trade consulting or advisory roles.
That's right. If you have a passion for sharing your knowledge and helping others, you could definitely leverage your expertise to guide businesses through all the, ins and outs of global trade. Imagine advising companies on market entry strategies, helping them navigate those tricky customs regulations, maybe even developing like sustainable and ethical sourcing practices.
So you're not just moving machines, you're shaping the way companies do business globally.
It's a fantastic opportunity to make a real impact, not just on individual companies, but on the entire global trade ecosystem.
Okay, so now let's circle back to those interview questions we discussed in part one. How can we frame our answers in a way that showcases our potential for growth and our long-term career goals?
That's a great point. Even when you're answering questions about your current experience, you can subtly weave in those aspirations and demonstrate your forward-thinking approach. For example, when you're discussing your experience managing documentation, you can mention your interest in exploring digital documentation solutions,
Yeah.
or like blockchain technology, to really streamline the process.
So it's about showing them you're not content with just the status quo. You're actively looking for ways to, innovate and improve.
Exactly. And when you're answering those questions about handling those unexpected issues, you can really highlight your ability to adapt to change and learn from challenges. Emphasize your willingness to embrace new technologies, seek out training opportunities, and stay ahead of the curve in this, constantly evolving industry.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI tools can be really helpful.
Oh, for sure.
They can analyze your answers, give you that personalized feedback, help you identify those areas where you can showcase your growth potential, and really align your responses with your long-term career goals.
It's like having a career coach and a mentor all in one, guiding you through that interview process and helping you present yourself as a valuable asset with a bright future.
Okay, let's revisit that question about staying up to date with industry trends. How can we demonstrate that commitment to continuous learning in a way that really makes an impression?
Don't just, list off publications or events you attend. Show them you're truly passionate about this industry and eager to learn more. Mention specific areas of interest, like sustainable manufacturing practices or the latest advancements in, textile machinery technology. If you've taken any additional courses or certifications, highlight those.
Don't be afraid to show a bit of your personality, too. If you're following industry leaders on social media or you're contributing to online forums, mention that. It shows your genuine interest and engagement.
Exactly. Passion and enthusiasm are contagious, and any interviewer wants to see that you're excited about this field and ready to contribute.
Okay, let's talk about a topic that's been buzzing around the world of global trade: automation. How do you see automation impacting the role of an import-export specialist in the coming years?
That's a big question, and it's on everyone's mind. It's important to approach it with a positive and proactive mindset. Automation is not about replacing jobs, it's about transforming them. Think of it as a powerful tool that can handle those repetitive tasks, like data entry, document processing, basic logistics. This frees up import-export specialists to focus on more, higher-level strategic work, like building relationships with partners, negotiating those complex contracts, identifying new market opportunities.
So instead of being bogged down by all that paperwork, we could become more like, global trade strategists, leveraging technology to streamline operations and make smarter decisions.
Precisely. The human element is even more important in an automated world. So those skills like critical thinking, problem solving, cultural awareness, and adaptability, those are going to be highly sought after.
And that's where RoleCatcher's resources come in handy again.
Absolutely.
Their career guides give you those insights into the skills you need to stay ahead of the game.
They really emphasize the importance of continuous learning, staying up to date on technology, even developing specialized expertise in certain regions or product categories.
So it's not enough to just be an import-export specialist. You have to be an exceptional one, ready to embrace the future of global trade.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And RoleCatcher's AI tools can be so valuable in identifying those areas where you might need to, upskill or expand your knowledge base to really thrive in this exciting new world.
So how do we address this topic of automation during the interview? It seems like it could be, the elephant in the room.
Instead of avoiding it, embrace it. Demonstrate that you understand how automation is changing the industry and highlight your willingness to adapt and learn. For example, when you're talking about your experience with logistics, you could mention your interest in exploring AI-powered platforms, how they can optimize shipping routes or how blockchain can improve transparency and traceability in the supply chain.
So it's not about denying the impact of technology. It's about showing that you're ready to use it to your advantage.
Exactly. By showcasing your, tech savviness and your willingness to adapt, you'll position yourself as a valuable asset, someone who's ready to navigate the future of global trade.
Okay, we've covered a lot in this second part of our deep dive, exploring career progression, the impact of automation, and how to weave those insights into your interview answers. In the final part, we'll delve into some specific strategies for using RoleCatcher's AI tools to tailor your responses and really practice your delivery. All right, welcome back to our deep dive, the final part, and we're focusing on how to use RoleCatcher's AI tools to really nail that interview for the import-export specialist role.
Yeah, these tools are really game changers. They can help you, tailor your answers, practice how you deliver them, and boost your confidence overall.
So let's start with answer tailoring. RoleCatcher has this feature that analyzes job descriptions and suggests keywords to use.
It's amazing. You just plug in the job description and the AI picks out those skills, experiences, qualifications that the employer wants, and then it suggests how to weave those keywords into your answers naturally.
So instead of giving like a generic answer to describe your experience in importing and exporting textile industry machinery, you can really target it.
Exactly. If they emphasize experience with weaving machines in the job description, boom, focus your answer on that. Talk about specific projects you handled. It shows you've done your research.
And this must be super helpful when you're applying to different subsectors of the textile industry, right?
Oh, absolutely. The keywords for, let's say, spinning equipment versus finishing equipment, those are going to be different. So the AI helps you adapt each time.
Okay, let's move on to practice. RoleCatcher also has this feature where you can record video responses to interview questions and get AI feedback. How does that work?
It's like a mock interview, but with an AI coach. You pick a question, record yourself, and then the AI analyzes everything, how you speak, your tone, body language, even what you're saying. And then it gives you specific suggestions so you can refine your approach and present yourself really well.
So it'll tell me if I'm like using too many ums and ahs, not making eye contact, or if my answers are all over the place.
Yeah, it catches those little things we often miss, helps you polish your delivery and come across as confident and professional.
I bet that's super helpful for people who get nervous in interviews.
Definitely. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be, and that confidence shows.
Okay, there's also this AI personality assessment, and I'm curious, how can that help with interview prep?
It's all about self-awareness. You answer some questions, and the AI figures out your personality, your strengths, weaknesses, and then tells you how those traits might affect your interview. So you can anticipate challenges and use your strength to your advantage.
So if it says I'm introverted, it might give me tips on how to project confidence even if I'm nervous, right?
Exactly. Or if you're super analytical, it might suggest ways to balance those detailed explanations with concise summaries so you don't overwhelm the interviewer.
It's like a personalized roadmap for the interview.
And remember, these AI tools are always getting smarter, learning from each interaction to give you better feedback.
So it's not just about using the tech, it's about always trying to improve.
Exactly, and that's how you succeed, especially in a field like global trade that's always changing.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of import-export specialists. Hopefully you're feeling informed and ready to tackle that interview.
Don't forget, the textile industry is booming. Lots of opportunities out there for passionate people.
And if you haven't checked out RoleCatcher yet, definitely do it. Their platform has everything you need to navigate the job search and launch that global trade career.
Best of luck on your journey.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another exploration of the world of work.